Have you ever wandered through a woodland, along a riverbank, or across an open meadow without realizing you were surrounded by food? Long before grocery stores, global supply chains, and polished produce aisles, people survived and thrived by harvesting wild fruits growing naturally around them. These plants weren't rare novelties or emergency rations. They were dependable staples, sweet or tart, deeply nourishing, and perfectly adapted to the land. Over time, many of these fruits faded from everyday use, dismissed as insignificant or forgotten entirely. Yet they deserve a return, not out of nostalgia, but because they offer resilience, nutrition, and a renewed connection to nature. Here are 10 native fruits once gathered by foragers that truly deserve a place back in our gardens, landscapes, and kitchens. 1. Pawpaw. The pawpaw stands as the largest fruit native to North America, yet it remains one of the continent's best-kept secrets. Long before modern agriculture and imported produce dominated diets, indigenous peoples relied on pawpaws as a vital seasonal food. At first glance, the fruit appears plain and unremarkable, but inside it reveals a soft, creamy flesh with an unexpectedly tropical taste. Its flavor is often described as a blend of banana, mango, melon, and subtle vanilla notes. An extraordinary experience for a fruit growing far from the tropics. Pawpaw trees naturally thrive in fertile forest understories, near streams, and along riverbanks, often forming colonies through root suckers. This growth habit made them reliable and easy for foragers to locate year after year. During late summer and early autumn, when pawpaws ripen, the fruit provided an important source of calories at a critical time for preparing for winter. Indigenous communities ate them fresh and, in some regions, preserved the pulp by drying or mixing it with other foods to extend its usefulness. Nutritionally, pawpaws are impressive. They are rich in carbohydrates, vitamin C, potassium, magnesium, and beneficial antioxidants, offering both energy and nourishment. One of their most remarkable qualities is their natural toughness. Unlike many modern fruit trees that require constant care and chemical protection, pawpaws evolved entirely within North American ecosystems. They possess a natural resistance to many pests and diseases, aided by insect-repelling compounds in their leaves and bark. Their flowers are pollinated not by bees, but by native beetles and flies, an ancient ecological partnership that highlights how well adapted they are to their environment. Pawpaws never became a mainstream commercial crop, not because they lack flavor or value, but because they don't fit industrial agriculture. Their thin skin bruises easily and the fruit ripens quickly, making long-distance shipping impractical. As a result, they quietly slipped out of public awareness. Rediscovering pawpaws today reminds us that some of the most remarkable foods are local, resilient, and deeply connected to the land. Growing them in home gardens or food forests is a way to reclaim a forgotten abundance that has always been close at hand. 2. Serviceberry. Serviceberries, known by many names including Juneberry, Shadbush, and Saskatoonberry, were once essential fruits for indigenous peoples across much of North America. These small, deep purple berries resemble blueberries, but often offer a more complex flavor. Along with their natural sweetness, they carry subtle almond or apple-like notes from their tiny edible seeds. Ripening in early summer, serviceberries were often the first fresh fruit available after winter, making them especially valuable to foragers emerging from months of limited food. Native communities harvested serviceberries in large quantities. They were eaten fresh straight from the tree, dried into chewy, raisin-like snacks, or mashed and combined with dried meat and fat to create pemmican, a dense, energy-rich food capable of sustaining people for long periods. Nutritionally, serviceberries are outstanding. They provide antioxidants, fiber, iron, vitamin C, and natural sugars, delivering both immediate energy and long-lasting nourishment. Serviceberry trees also offered beauty and dependability beyond their fruit. They are exceptionally adaptable, thriving in cold climates, withstanding drought, tolerating poor or rocky soils, and surviving harsh winds. This resilience made them reliable in environments where other fruit trees struggled. In spring, they burst into clouds of delicate white blossoms. Summer brings lush green foliage and ripening berries, while autumn transforms the leaves into brilliant shades of red, orange, and gold. Few plants deliver such visual appeal alongside food production throughout the year. As agriculture shifted toward large-scale farming and imported fruits, service berries gradually disappeared from everyday diets. Today, many people recognize the trees only as ornamentals, unaware that their fruit is edible or that it once supported entire cultures. Unlike many modern crops, service berries demand little maintenance, require no chemical inputs, and live harmoniously with wildlife, providing food for birds and supporting native pollinators. Bringing service berries back into our landscapes is about more than reintroducing a forgotten fruit. It's about restoring a balanced relationship with the natural world, one based on resilience, diversity, and respect for local ecosystems. In a time when gardeners seek hardy, low-maintenance, climate-adapted plants, service berries stand as a living reminder that the wisdom of the past still offers solutions for the future. Third, American persimmon. Long before Asian persimmon varieties ever appeared in orchards or grocery stores, the American persimmon was one of the most treasured native fruits across much of North America. Found growing wild from the Midwest through the Southeast, this humble tree rewarded those who understood its timing and temperament. When fully ripe, the American persimmon delivers an extraordinary eating experience. It's soft, almost pudding-like flesh bursting with flavors reminiscent of honey, dates, caramel, and warm brown sugar. Indigenous foragers understood a crucial truth about this fruit. Patience was essential. Unripe persimmons are notoriously astringent, instantly drying the mouth in a way that few people forget. But once the fruit reaches full maturity, often after the first frosts of fall, it softens dramatically, darkens in color, and becomes luxuriously sweet. At this stage, persimmons were eagerly gathered and enjoyed fresh, mashed into thick pastes, baked into breads and puddings, or dried to preserve their sweetness for the winter months. American persimmons were valued not only for their flavor, but also for their dependability. These trees are exceptionally resilient. They tolerate heat, drought, poor or rocky soils, and long periods of neglect far better than most cultivated fruit trees. Once established, they need very little care and can live for generations, producing abundant harvests year after year. Their deep root systems allow them to thrive in locations where apples, peaches, or pears would struggle or fail entirely. From an ecological standpoint, the American persimmon is equally important. Its fruits provide food for a wide range of wildlife, including deer, raccoons, foxes, birds, and even box turtles. The flowers support native pollinators, and the dense, durable wood was historically prized for making tools, textile shuttles, and even golf club heads. Despite all of this value, the fruit fell out of favor because it ripens unevenly and bruises easily, characteristics that make it unsuitable for industrial agriculture but ideal for home gardeners and foragers. Today, the American persimmon stands as a quiet reminder that some of the richest abundance doesn't come from orchards or store shelves, but from trees growing along forest edges, old fields, and country roadsides, waiting for those willing to slow down, observe nature, and harvest at the right moment. 4. Beach plum. Along the rugged, wind-swept coastlines of the northeastern United States, hidden among sandy dunes and coastal thickets, grows one of the most overlooked native fruits, the beach plum. For indigenous coastal peoples, this tough little plum was a vital seasonal resource, providing nourishment and flavor in environments where traditional agriculture was often difficult or unreliable. Beach plums are small and round, ripening to deep shades of purple or nearly black, often dusted with a soft blue bloom. Their flavor is bold and assertive, sharply tart with a rich, fruity depth that truly shines when transformed through cooking. While some enjoy them fresh, beach plums are best known for their exceptional preserves. Native foragers and early settlers quickly discovered that these fruits produce outstanding jams, jellies, sauces, and syrups, with a complexity far beyond that of most cultivated plums. What truly sets beach plums apart is their ability to thrive where few other fruiting plants can survive. These shrubs flourish in sandy, nutrient-poor soils, enduring constant wind, salt spray, drought, and intense sun. They are naturally salt-tolerant and remarkably hardy. Their extensive root systems help anchor dunes and reduce erosion, making them invaluable not only as a food source but also as a stabilizing force in fragile coastal ecosystems. Historically, beach plums were harvested in large quantities, and regional food traditions developed around their use. As coastal development expanded and natural landscapes were cleared, wild beach plum populations declined, and the fruit gradually disappeared from public awareness. Unlike commercial plums, beach plums ripen unevenly and vary widely in size, flavor, and yield, traits that made them unsuitable for large-scale farming, but perfect for small-scale harvesting and home use. In the face of climate change, beach plums may be more relevant than ever. Rising sea levels, increased storm activity, and salt intrusion are making conventional crops increasingly difficult to grow in coastal regions. Beach plums, however, continue to thrive under exactly these conditions. They offer a resilient, edible solution for coastal landscapes, producing food where little else will. Bringing beach plums back into our awareness isn't just about rediscovering a forgotten fruit. It's about reconnecting with sustainable food systems rooted in place, learning from plants that evolved to handle extremes, and recognizing that some of the most valuable crops are those that ask for almost nothing while giving so much in return. 5. Chokecherry. In spite of its rather unappealing name, chokecherry was one of the most essential and widely relied upon wild fruits for Native American tribes throughout much of North America. Long before cultivated orchards or domesticated fruit trees became common, chokecherry shrubs and small trees provided a dependable source of food in environments where few other fruits could survive. The berries themselves are small and dark, ranging in color from deep red to nearly black, and they grow in heavy clusters that make harvesting efficient and plentiful during a good season. When eaten raw, chokecherries are famously sharp and intensely astringent, instantly tightening the mouth and leaving a dry sensation behind. Indigenous foragers, however, understood that this boldness was not a drawback, but a strength. Through cooking, drying, or fermentation, chokecherries undergo a remarkable transformation. Heat and processing break down the tannins responsible for their harshness, revealing complex, layered flavors with deep, wine-like richness and subtle almond notes derived from the crushed pits. Traditionally, the fruits were pounded whole, skins, flesh, and pits together, and then shaped into thick cakes that were dried in the sun. These cakes were dense with nutrients, highly portable, and capable of lasting for long periods without spoilage. Chokecherry played a central role in the preparation of pemmican, a survival food made from dried meat, rendered fat, and fruit. In this mixture, chokecherry provided acidity, flavor, and natural preservation, helping balance the richness of the fat and protein. Pemmican was not just sustenance, but a life-saving food for long journeys, trade routes, and harsh winters. This use underscores how deeply chokecherry was woven into indigenous food systems. It was a foundation of survival rather than a casual treat. From an ecological standpoint, chokecherry is extraordinarily hardy. It grows across an immense range of landscapes, from open prairies and riverbanks to foothills and mountainous regions. It withstands bitter cold, drought, nutrient-poor soils, and strong winds with ease, making it one of the most resilient fruiting plants native to the continent. While modern tastes may hesitate at its assertive character, chokecherry offers something increasingly rare today. A fruit rich in history, adapted to extreme conditions, and proven to sustain people for thousands of years. Rediscovering chokecherry is not merely about flavor, it is about reclaiming a resilient food source with deep cultural roots. 6. Buffalo berry. Buffalo berry is another remarkable native fruit that has largely faded from modern awareness, despite once being a vital part of indigenous diets, particularly in the dry, unforgiving landscapes of the Great Plains and northern regions. These small, vivid red berries grow on hardy, thorny shrubs that flourish where many other fruiting plants cannot, areas defined by dry soils, intense sunlight, strong winds, and minimal rainfall. In places that appear sparse and inhospitable, buffalo berry quietly and reliably produces food. Indigenous foragers valued buffalo berries for both their nutritional strength and their adaptability. The berries are exceptionally rich in vitamin C, making them a critical food for preventing illness, especially during long winters when fresh fruits were unavailable. While ripe berries could be eaten fresh, they were more often processed to soften their bitterness and extend their shelf life. Drying allowed them to be stored for long periods, while cooking transformed their sharp flavor into something deeper and more balanced. One of the most unique and fascinating traditional uses of buffalo berry is the creation of a dish commonly known as Indian ice cream. When ripe buffalo berries are vigorously whipped with water, they form a thick, airy pink foam, similar in texture to a natural mousse. This occurs because the berries contain compounds that act as natural foaming agents, Sweetened when possible with honey or other fruits, this dish was both nourishing and celebratory, reflecting a deep understanding of the plant's chemistry and potential. Beyond its value as food, buffalo berry offers powerful ecological benefits. The shrubs are nitrogen fixers, meaning they naturally enrich the soil by adding nitrogen, improving fertility for surrounding plants. In this way, buffalo berry does more than feed people. It actively heals and restores degraded land. It supports ecosystems while producing nourishment, a rare and valuable trait. In a modern world facing soil depletion, water shortages, and increasing climate extremes, buffalo berry stands out as a forgotten ally. It thrives with minimal care, survives conditions that defeat many conventional crops, and supports both human nutrition and ecological regeneration. Bringing buffalo berry back into our food systems is not simply about reviving an old fruit. It is about embracing resilience, honoring traditional knowledge, and rethinking how we grow food in harmony with the land. 7. Mayhaw. Native to the southeastern regions of the United States, the mayhaw is a modest, often underestimated tree that once held an essential place in traditional foraging cultures. It naturally inhabits wetlands, floodplains, swamps, and the edges of slow-moving rivers and bayous, areas that are usually considered unsuitable for most fruit trees. Yet these challenging environments are exactly where mayhaw thrives. For early foragers, this resilience made mayhaw invaluable, especially in early spring when winter food supplies were nearly exhausted and fresh nutrition was urgently needed. Mayhaw fruits are small and round, typically ripening to a vivid red, though some varieties display shades of orange or yellow. When eaten raw, they are intensely tart, delivering a sharp, bracing acidity that can be overwhelming on its own. Rather than being a drawback, this quality made mayhaw incredibly useful. Indigenous peoples and later settlers quickly discovered that this acidity translated beautifully into preserved foods. Mayhaws were cooked down into jellies, syrups, and sauces, and sometimes used in medicinal preparations, believed to aid digestion and restore energy after winter scarcity. Mayhaw jelly became especially iconic, crystal clear, ruby-colored, and bursting with a bright, refreshing flavor that felt like the essence of spring itself. Beyond flavor, mayhaws were valued for their dependability. These trees tolerate prolonged flooding, heavy clay soils, and inconsistent moisture levels that would kill most fruit trees. They bloom early in the year, often before many other fruiting plants awaken, providing an important nectar source for early-season pollinators. Their ability to produce fruit reliably, even under difficult conditions, made them a trusted part of seasonal food cycles. Today, mayhaws remain largely unknown outside specific regions, such as Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and parts of eastern Texas. Modern agriculture has overlooked them in favor of fruits that store and ship easily. Yet as climate patterns shift and flooding becomes more common, the mayhaw's natural adaptation to wet, unpredictable environments makes it increasingly relevant. Reviving mayhaw isn't simply about preserving tradition. It's about embracing a resilient, climate-smart fruit that has quietly thrived for generations. 8. Elderberry. Elderberry stands as one of the most powerful and culturally significant native fruits ever gathered, though it gradually slipped out of everyday use over time. For indigenous peoples across North America, elderberry was far more than food. It was a cornerstone of traditional medicine and seasonal nourishment. The dark purple berries were never consumed raw. Instead, they were carefully cooked into syrups, wines, preserves, and medicinal preparations. The delicate white flower clusters were equally prized, brewed into teas or fermented into refreshing drinks. What set elderberry apart was its reputation for healing. Long before scientific analysis, foragers understood that elderberries strengthened the body, particularly during cold and flu seasons. Modern research has since validated this knowledge, showing that elderberries are rich in antioxidants, flavonoids, and antiviral compounds that support immune function and reduce inflammation. In many households, elderberry syrup was not optional. It was a trusted remedy passed down through generations. From a cultivation standpoint, elderberry is remarkably forgiving. These shrubs grow quickly, spread enthusiastically, and adapt to a wide range of environments. They tolerate wet soils, marginal ground, full sun, partial shade, and even neglect. Despite this toughness, they produce heavy clusters of berries year after year, often with minimal care. Few fruiting plants offer such abundance with so little effort. Elderberries also contribute significantly to ecosystem health. Their flowers attract pollinators, their berries sustain birds and wildlife, and their dense growth helps stabilize soil along waterways and slopes. In traditional landscapes, elderberry was never an isolated crop. It was part of a larger living system that supported people, animals, and the land simultaneously. Although elderberry has begun to reappear in modern culture through supplements and herbal products, it has yet to fully reclaim its place as a household staple. Many people consume elderberry extracts without realizing how easily this plant can be grown, harvested, and prepared at home. Restoring elderberry to everyday use means more than reviving a fruit. It means reconnecting with resilience, self-reliance, and the deep ecological wisdom embedded in native foraging traditions. Together, Mayhaw and elderberry serve as powerful reminders that some of the most nourishing, adaptive, and meaningful foods are not imported or engineered, but have been growing quietly around us for centuries, waiting to be rediscovered.